Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? My name is Scott Campbell. I'm with Eide Bailey Technology Consulting, but today I am here representing the Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce Ambassadors. For those of you that do not know, the Ambassadors are a volunteer organization that attend ribbon cuttings, groundbreakings, and anniversary celebrations, just like we are at here today for the Black Building and Kilbourne Group. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mike Allmendinger, President of Kilbourne Group, to say a few words about the Black Building and Kilbourne Group.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you, Scott, and welcome everyone today to the Black Building. We are very excited to have you all here today and be part of this historic moment of opening up the doors to the renovated Black Building after being built originally in 1930. And thanks to everyone here from the Chamber, city leaders, friends, family that are here, and also anyone here that have had a business in the building, while we have been renovating. It's been a really challenging project because we have been renovating and doing the work around mechanical, electrical systems that you see, while there have been businesses operating here. We started on first floor through fifth floor, and then while there are businesses operating on 6, 7, and 8. So it's been a challenge, but well worth the wait, and well worth the effort that has went into it, because this is such an iconic structure in downtown Fargo. When you think back to this building being built originally, Mr. Black came to Fargo, started a mercantile business, and when that business sold to Sears, he decided to build the Black Building. And I have a quote here that I wanted to share with everyone, because this is from his autobiography that the Schlossman family shared with us. And it's really impactful. It says, "I shall never forget that October 29th, 1929. That was when the stock market collapsed. I was right across the street from the celebrated Wall Street Exchange when the market collapsed. It was a terrible sight to see the tremendous crowd in panic. Sears Roebuck came into the picture right after that, anxious to have us sell out to them. It was a big decision to make, but since it looked as if we would have more competition, I was persuaded to sell them and erect a building." And we have read that before, but we think about ourselves, an individual in 1929 deciding to build this structure after the market collapsed, and the belief that he had in Fargo at that time to lean forward and say, hey, I'm going to make that investment into Fargo. And that's very inspirational when you hear people, taking that kind of risk. And I oftentimes think about, what that inspired others to do. You look at all of the other projects that came in downtown Fargo, after the 30s and the vibrancy of this city. This building is a great example of that belief in Fargo. This building has many great features. It's an Art Deco building, has Indiana limestone. The terrazzo floor that you see on this floor is on every single floor of this building, which again is just a kind of astounding to find that feature in these buildings. We've renovated many different projects in downtown Fargo, but have never had the ability to work on a project with terrazzo floors on every one. So we have very carefully repaired many holes in the floors, throughout years of office building and construction, and brought that back to, and this will be part of all the offices in the future. And check out the first floor elevator doors as well. Those were original to the building. We've been able to restore those and keep those as a part of the project as well the whole time. So a treat today, we have some of the grandkids here from Mr. Black. Brad Schlossman is one of them. And we've asked Brad to just share a few words about this building as you remember.
Thank you, Mike. As he talks about taking a risk on this building 90-ish years ago, I want to also acknowledge the fact that the Kilbourne Group is repeating that with what they are doing here and the awesome job they are doing at restoring this. I pointed out the fact that you can't tell that these aren't the original windows from somebody who remembers the original windows. Here is one of the original windows, And for the first 13 years of my career in Fargo, I sat right next to one of these original windows, and they were terrible. So in terms of what was kept and what was replaced, the Kilbourne Group has done an amazing job. I just love walking through this building. I also want to acknowledge my brother Jeff. Raise your hand there. And for those of you who may have memories of the black building, you may have remembered that you used to get onto the elevator and get a ride with a manual operator. Well, Phyllis Mathianson is here for 20 years. Raise your hand, the pink jacket there. But that was the smiling face and well-dressed as she is today, the face that you would see as you would enter the black building, and we always thought of them as our ambassadors back when we were operating the building. So it's just a wonderful day. We're really excited for this and excited for the future of this building, and I know that Grandpa Black is so proud of what's taking place here. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Brad. If you have time to ask Jeff about cleaning the windows as kids, I think all of the brothers and sisters had an opportunity to clean these windows when they were growing up around the black building. So another highlight I almost forgot was the sign outside. Check out the sign when you walk out. Check it out in the evening. It's a replication of the original sign that was built as a part of this project, and it was really fun to have that pulled back together. The team that has worked on this project to bring it back to renovation includes JLG Architects was the architect that we worked with, along with Higher Engineering, KCM Construction, MBN, and O&E Mechanical. This team put together a very complex and coordinated effort to renovate this project, again, while there's businesses in place and keeping systems running throughout the duration of the construction. What we have right now, we are planning for a food and beverage concept on the first floor and lower level, office space on the mezzanine level, and then office space on floors 2 through 8. So if you have the chance, you can stop on other floors, and we can provide a small guided tour for you on other floors. For example, Bobcat's going to be located on 4th floor below us, so we can look at some other spaces, as well through the building, and we can offer that tour. Want to say thanks again for everybody coming, and invite Melissa Rodemaker to say a few words with us.
Well, good morning. I'm Melissa Rodemacher, and I'm with the Downtown Community Partnership, and I'm just honored to be able to share a couple words today with you. The group that we represent is for the love of downtown, and Downtown Fargo is the heart of our community. And this building is just a part of that, and the history and what it will do to continue to make downtown unique and the place to live and work and just enjoy and experience is just incredible. The stories, the history that is all going on in here and what has been shared today is phenomenal. And Kilbourne Group, what a great job to bring the building back to life, keep the character, and really allow the rest of us to enjoy and to remember the history. Office space, if you have not walked through this, the office space here is incredible. When you walk through that floor and you can see light shine on both sides of the building and enjoy the elevator and the unique features of the building and just walk through and actually work here and co-share it with your friends and family, and then be able to walk down to the street and grab dinner, do a business deal, do a handshake, and just really, really take it all in and really, truly experience downtown Fargo. So thank you, everyone, for coming, and enjoy. I mean, when you walk through this building, it's remarkable. And thank you, Kilbourne. Next, I want to introduce Dave Pepcorn.
Thank you for that warm round of applause. No, it's not. I'm a Fargo City Commissioner, and I just wanted to thank the Kilbourne Group. You've set a very, very high bar for development. I think we're very fortunate to have them. I hope Mike tells the story of the challenge of even the people that owned the building before this. It was not easy to even get the rights to buy the property. It was very difficult. And so on behalf of the city of Fargo, thank you very much. This is very exciting. If you look around us, we got a lot of excitement. And so the buildings are one thing, but all the people in the room, this is what we were hoping for. Mayor Furness talked about, this is a young town. We're highly educated, and our median age is well below most other cities, so we're very fortunate. So thank you for having me. Thank you, Kilbourne Group. Any developers out there, we got lots of other opportunities for you, so feel free to contact us, and we would love to have you. And I get the high honor of introducing the man who helped a lot of this happen, Mayor Bruce Furness.
Well, thank you, Dave, and thank you to all of you for being here. I didn't know it was this large a group to talk to. But I wanted to give you a little explanation about how this happened. And downtown revitalization was a big part of the city, wanting to get that done 20 years ago. And so we created the Renaissance Zone. And this project is part of the Renaissance Zone. And the Renaissance Zone is a complicated thing, but most people don't understand it. All it means is that when you get a property like this that needs some cleaning up, you give the owner 5 years of no taxes. So the city loses those taxes for 5 years. But after 5 years, the owner starts paying taxes, and in that first year, the city gets all those taxes back. And after that, it's gravy. So it really works out well. But there are other things going on. The Renaissance Zone obviously is a very important one. So I'm just going to rattle them off for your education. I'm going to do it in order. NDSU came downtown, a couple of places. That was a remarkable thing for what went on downtown and was a big instigator. The next thing was Hotel Donaldson. That was another thing that was really done nicely. Downtown Community Partnership, back then was in existence. Didn't work as well as it does now. It works really well now. And when they ask you to help out in the downtown, be sure to do that. Number 5 is a quiet zone. Who knows what a quiet zone is? Took us 2 years, got the railroad people to agree that they didn't have to blow the whistles. Sometimes they still do that because I can hear them at night. But anyhow, that made a big difference to people that are living in condos along the tracks. Number 6 was the Main Avenue Bridge between Fargo and Moorhead. That bridge was in terrible trouble, was not workable really, and that took about 2 years to complete, but it really brought the two communities better together. Number 7, Fargo Theater, believe it or not. Fargo Theater had another theater put right next to it, and that helped them out a lot, helped people go to the movies. Number 8, Civic Center. The city decided they ought to build a building. So the Civic Center, which is kind of standing by itself now, was built in that time, not built, but refurbished and increased. And then number 9 was we had to repave Broadway. And I'm sure many of you remember that before we had streets that go like this, coming down Broadway, and it was kind of a mess. People didn't know what to do. So we made the streets straight, and that really helped. And the last thing I think that helped was the changes to the Plains Art Museum. That had a lot of things going on at that time, too. So there was more than just the downtown, the Renaissance Zone, but the Renaissance Zone is the one that made it all happen. So thanks for being here. It's great to see you all.
Thank you very much. All right. Now I'd like to open it up for questions, comments from the audience. I have one. For Mike, what is your vision for, you had mentioned restaurant, retail space. What is your vision? We all know the Elm Tree Square from the main floor. What is your vision for how that's going to look?
Sure. We are working on a concept that would keep the main floor completely open and not separated into 2 or 3 different businesses. There's a large space on the first floor. It does have what we call the atrium level that goes down to the lower level, and then it also goes up to the mezzanine level. And so there's a lot to coordinate around the idea of privacy, security, but also just a great experience for guests coming there for food and beverage. So what we are working really hard on right now and are making good momentum is having the idea of having a food hall where you'd walk in and have 4 or 5 different food and beverage options, and then some entertainment as well. As we think about the Block 9 Plaza and all the activities, families and events that will be happening there, have this to be one of those locations that where people can come to after that and enjoy themselves for a little while.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Will you talk a little bit about the tour that you went on when you first were looking at buying the building?
Okay, so I've shared this with Dave before, and this was probably 5 or 6 years ago, before Doug Burgum was governor. Doug Burgum was the founder of Kilbourne Group. We were touring this building with one of the owners, and it was right about dusk. And they were guiding us through the building, telling us how the building is in pretty good shape, no roof leaks. And I'm following the owner around the corner, and Doug kind of takes off to the side with his flashlight on his phone and finds one room with about a half an inch of water in it and a big roof leak. So there could be 20 minutes of storytelling about trying to work with 3 different owners to acquire the property. And they had the best intentions around this building. I look back at this building and think of it could have been boarded up windows with nobody working inside of it. But it was a tough time for downtown Fargo for some of those years. So it was. But hey, we're happy the heat was always on and people were here and had the chance to renovate it.
Mike, just a tidbit on the roof. The original roof here actually lasted 50 years, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
People were speculating materials back in the 30s were just more robust than what had been used later, but 50 years for a roof.
Yes. Well, not only the roof. I mean, the entire building is built to a high quality standard for structural. This building was built without piers going down 100 feet in the ground, so it has what they call a mat slab for the foundation, and which is not built anymore. But this building hasn't moved at all. You have concrete floors without cracks everywhere. And we've worked on 4-story wood frame buildings that have moved 3 inches, very easily. And this building, we don't see any movement in. So every part of this project, of this building, was built with tremendous quality back in 1930. And it starts with, you need to start with a good foundation whenever you start a renovation. So there's many components of that. And actually, when you go up into the attic of this building, there's a little attic crawl space. They even had the foresight to put in columns to add 2 more floors. So the original elevator dial went to 10 floors instead of 8. So there was a lot of foresight in the planning of this project. Well, I'd like to, you'll say a few words, Scott, but again, I wanted to thank Dave Pepcorn, Melissa, and Bruce for sharing some of their background on the project. This is one of those moments where a project like this comes together. There's many partners and team members and and components to bring a project like this together and make it viable again for the next 100 years. So thanks, Scott.
Thank you all. I'll bring forward the ambassadors here, and let's cut a ribbon. We'll have those designated to cut the ribbon in front here, and then ambassadors, if you would like to come back and fill in behind. After we cut our ribbons, feel free to stick around. There are guided tours until noon or so, and then we have refreshments throughout. Don't cut yet. We'll pause for a couple of photos. All right, on the count of 3, go ahead and cut the ribbon and then pause there for a plaque presentation. 1, 2, 3.